Okay, live once again. Good evening, folks. I'm waiting for my phone to do what it usually does. So far, it hasn't done it. Okay, so Mobile Geezer here with Friday Night Tech Talk. I don't know who will be joining tonight. Did get a message from Ted that said Mark might want to join, but okay, there we go. Did get a message from Ted. Okay, as far as I can tell, let's see, it looks like there's 3 people in there. Please say hello so I'll know you're there and who you are. But meanwhile, once again, it's just Mobile Geezer, me all by myself. And we'll see if Mike or Ted or Mark joins later. And by some miracle, maybe even, well, who knows? Anyway, fair warning for anybody who's not an Apple fan. Oh, Renz is here. Okay. There you go, Renz. Thanks, Renz. I know you're on your way to work. So glad to have you here. See you when you get to work. So for anybody who's not an Apple fan, be forewarned, the first 3 stories are all going to be about Apple. Just wanted to get the event stuff out of the way since the event is next Tuesday, I believe. So I'll be watching that, and we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to pull up the first. Oh, first of all, I want to remind you folks where to find the show notes. Of course, the show notes are in the description. And share the screen, show you how to get to my web page. Okay. And there's mobilegeezer.wordpress.com, and it's the first story. You can see it right there for today's date. So I'm going to move on to the very first story. Let's stop the screen and go down to the first story. Okay. Share. And let me stop for a second. Okay, Brian's in here. Hey, Brian, glad to have you here, brother. Renz has already said hello. He's off to work. So I'm sure he'll be joining once he gets to work. And I'm about to share the first story. But I guess before I do that, I was a little hectic with getting everything up for tonight's show. That's because I was running late because I had pre-ordered the Z Flip 3 the day of the presentation. Matter of fact, I had ordered it before the presentation was over. And that was on August 11th. So tomorrow it will be 1 month. And I've been checking every day, and every time I go back, it says customizing your Z Flip 3. Well, I had contacted them, and he told me because I had ordered the gray one from the US site, it's considered custom. Well, turns out I don't think that was true. Today, I get an email from Samsung saying that we're sorry, but your order is going to be delayed 30 more days. So I'm like, okay, so I'm going to wait 2 months to get this? So no. So it said you could cancel right away. I went and canceled, got everything canceled. So the main things that I wanted was, of course, the Z Flip 3 and the Galaxy Watch 4. So once I canceled, I ran around, finally ended up at Best Buy, and here we go. Got my Z Flip 3. Haven't even unboxed it yet or set it up yet. Just wanted to let you guys know that I finally got it. And there's my Galaxy Watch 4 Classic. So got that both done, and that's why I was late in getting everything set up tonight. I did that right after work today, but got it done. So tomorrow I'll be putting up some coverage, probably a very quick unboxing, because my main SIM is already in that phone, even though I haven't set it up yet. So that's what to look for. Yes, I guess I am, you know. That's right. A lot of people think I flipped out years ago, so. Okay. And Mario has them both too. Good for you, Mario. I hope you're loving them. I have a suspicion I'm going to, of course, I wear the Galaxy Watch 3 already, but I have a suspicion I'm going to love the Flip 3, but you let me know in the comments what you think about it. So, those are what I picked up today, and I'm very excited. And so I pulled up the same article twice, I guess. There we go. So I'm going to go on to the first article, share the screen, and here we go. Okay, let's see. iPhone 13, what to expect from Apple's next smartphone and what we want to see. The new iPhones may bring larger upgrades than you expect. So let's see if I can put reader view on and get rid of some of these commercials. Okay, there we go. So this is by David Emel from Android Authority. The iPhone 12 launch was one of Apple's largest smartphone introductions to date, with 4 distinct models, 5G, and a significant redesign that even included a novel approach to wireless charging. Yeah, I have the MagSafe charger too. I bought that along with my 12 Pro. So I'm slowly becoming embedded into the Apple ecosystem, but I'm still an Android guy. How then does the company possibly follow up on that success with the iPhone 13? From early indications, the answer could be simple: by ticking many of the checkboxes left empty from past years. Rumors suggest the iPhone 13 will represent a sizable upgrade that tackles a few known shortcomings and might just put it ahead of the Android competition in some areas, or at least catch up. Here's what we expect to see from Apple's new flagship phones based on early rumors and leaks, along with a few wish list items that might be long shots. Now let's see, Miss E is in here. Glad to have you here, my dear. And okay, moving on. When will the iPhone 13 be announced and released? And I think we probably all know that already. Apple has announced plans to hold an online event on Tuesday, September 14th at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. It's highly likely that the company will announce the new iPhone 13 models during the event. If tradition holds, the iPhone 13 could go on sale later in September or perhaps early October. iPhone 13 may focus on a 120 Hz always-on display. Ask many fans what they want most from the iPhone 13, and they're likely point to an improved display. While iPhones are often fast and responsive, they've been stuck with 60 Hz screen refresh rates, while their Android counterparts have moved on to 90, 120 Hz and beyond. They haven't had always-on displays either. Apple may have had good reasons to pass on the technology before. High refresh rates and always-on tech often hurt battery life, but the omissions are more and more glaring with each passing day. That's true. Thankfully, it seems increasingly probable that Apple will address these problems with at least some models. Analyst Ming-Chin Kuo, leaker Max Weinbach, and others have cited sources claiming the iPhone 13 models will include a 120 Hz display based on the battery-efficient LTPO, that means low-temperature polycrystalline oxide, technology found in phones like the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, which I know Miss E has and is enjoying. The upgrade may enable always-on display too. Like with some Android devices, the always-on iPhone 13 display, which are the clock, battery, and notifications, without having to wake your device. While Apple doesn't appear to be trying anything radical, this could still be extremely helpful for spotting an important email or text at a glance. Goodbye huge notch and hello ports. The iPhone 13 isn't expected to involve a radical external redesign. Kuo and others still believe there will be 4 models, including a 5.4-inch iPhone 13 mini, a 6.1-inch standard, a 6.1-inch Pro version, and a 6.7-inch Pro Max. They may be slightly thicker and heavier than the iPhone 12, possibly due to larger batteries and cameras. However, the flat machine look of the iPhone 12 series would remain intact. The design might also be notable for what it leaves intact. Despite rumors, Apple is reportedly poised to keep the Lightning port and otherwise pass on the portless concept some have anticipated. That's not completely surprising when wireless charging remains expensive and relatively slow. Even so, it might be a relief if you were worried that you'd have to lug around a MagSafe pad just to keep your phone alive. And I do think my MagSafe for my iPhone does charge faster than most of my other wireless chargers. So, a smaller notch is the most exciting design change we're expected to see. The iPhone 13 series is expected to be slightly thicker than its predecessors, likely to accommodate bigger batteries. But the general design language will be largely the same. Leaks of dummy units from case makers show that we might get a larger camera bump, but with the camera units more recessed. So I guess that's what it would look like. The dual camera iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 mini will also come with rear cameras placed diagonally instead of vertically, as seen with the previous generation. The look of the camera setup should be the same as the larger iPhone 12s. Plenty of leaks and rumors suggest the availability of a new matte black version that'll be darker than the graphite colorway of previous iPhones. Rumors also suggest the availability of a paler rose gold and a new bronze-like sunset gold. There's a possibility that the new colorways will be reserved for the more expensive iPhone 13 Pro and iPhone 13 Pro Max, though. Camera upgrades for everyone. The iPhone 12 series camera upgrades weren't particularly democratic. You needed to buy at least the iPhone 12 Pro to get the telephoto lens and LiDAR, and you need to buy the 12 Pro Max to get both the best sensors and the most advanced stabilization. Let's see. The iPhone 13 may be a different story. Analysts believe at least the Pro models will receive improved ultra-wide cameras. They might get an automatic astrophotography mode as well. Devoted photographers would still have to buy the Pro Max for the best quality. The main lens would have a brighter f1.5 aperture, but better image quality should be a common theme across the entire iPhone 13 range. That's good to know. Kuo doesn't expect 8K video recording and the requisite higher resolution sensor to reach the iPhone 13, though. That might have to wait until 2022. Apple's not exactly in a rush when 8K screens and content are still rare, but this will be something rivals like Samsung can crow about in the future, and you know they do. More performance across the board. It wouldn't be a major iPhone launch without new chips, and the iPhone 13 will be no exception. Virtually everyone expects Apple to introduce an A15 chip that delivers speed and battery life improvements. It's not certain how much of an improvement A15 would represent, but the A14 was already faster overall compared to its Android counterparts. The upgrades might not be limited to raw computing power either. Apple currently uses the Qualcomm Snapdragon X55 modem in the iPhone 12 line, and the iPhone 13 range is likely to use this year's Snapdragon X60. Barclays researchers also predicted support for Wi-Fi 6E which brings Wi-Fi 6's technology to the faster and lower leg 6 gigahertz band. Satellite connection for emergencies. A rumor from Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo claims the Snapdragon X60 modem expected to be in the iPhone 13 will be customized to support satellite phone connections. A follow-up report from Bloomberg claims the support will be limited to emergencies only. The phone could connect to a satellite, and the user could text messages to first responders if there is an issue, and if there is little to no cellular network connectivity in the area. That's you need that kind of emergency saving. That's probably a very good thing. Don't know if it's true for sure. Let me see. Brian is saying the notch is still ugly. Okay, some people are going to hate the notch forever. That's true. And Missy agrees with him. Okie dokie. See. Now here's his wish list: USB-C, fingerprint reader, and iOS 15. All of these aforementioned rumored additions could make the iPhone 13 a welcome update, but there are a few items that would be desirable, although we consider these wild cards that aren't likely to come to pass. As you no doubt noticed earlier, you might have to forego hopes for an iPhone 13 with USB-C. Apple still appears to be set on keeping its 9-year-old Lightning connector. We'd love to see Apple adopt USB-C to embrace a truly industry-wide standard, and we can't rule it out, but we're not counting on a port change anytime soon. Murmurs at Bloomberg and the Wall Street Journal have also suggested Apple is testing an under-display fingerprint reader that would complement Face ID on the iPhone 13, but we wouldn't raise our hopes for that either. Testing doesn't mean guaranteed use, and Apple has so far poured its energy into improving Face ID despite the pandemic. The recent iOS 14.5 update lets Face ID work with a mask if you have an Apple Watch, for instance, and that works for me. But I alternate between my Galaxy Watch 3 and my Apple Watch. So the days that I wear this, of course, I can't unlock my iPhone with my face. It would be wonderful if you had an under-screen Touch ID as a backup, but a safer bet would be an improved Face ID system that works faster or recognizes you at sharper angles. And then there's iOS. It's no secret that Android fans often have a mile-long list of things they change about Apple software before considering a switch. But we wouldn't expect iOS 15 and the iPhone 13 to address many of those concerns. Bloomberg sources mostly expect iOS 15 to improve iPhone notifications, iMessage, and the lock screen. Don't plan on sideloading third-party apps, changing your app defaults, or installing custom launches. And there's a story coming up on that too, on iOS 15. Apple is full of surprises, though, and it's worth keeping some optimism. Remember, iOS 14 brought home screen widgets and limited app default changes that many thought would never see the light of day. That's very true. If iOS 15 brings more changes like these, the iPhone 13 might tempt more Android fans, even if the hardware is only a modest upgrade. So just wanted to go over what we're generally expecting to see next Tuesday. Let me take a look at the comments here. And of course, Brian says yes to a fingerprint reader and USB-C. We all say that. And I agree with you 100% there, Brian. Mass life is not going away anytime soon. Probably not for a very, very long time. So, don't know who's excited about the iPhone 13. Since I just bought the Z Flip today, I'll be watching my money a little more closely, so you may not see that in my hands for a while. Okay, moving on to the next story. And this one I'm just going to breeze through because this story is simply about the differences between iPhone 13 and iPhone 12. And it's going to have a lot of the information we just went through, so I'll just be skimming around here. So, all right, blah, 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 iPhone 13, September event, iPhone 13. So I want to get down to where we'll actually see the difference. Like the iPhone 12, the iPhone 13 will come in 4 models, according to analyst Ming-Chao Kuo. The iPhone 13, iPhone 13 mini, iPhone 13 Pro, and the iPhone 13 Pro Max, which the other article said too. A filing made by Apple with the Federal Communications Commission lends further credence to this rumor, in which there are 4 new phone models that would potentially work with a newer version of Apple's MagSafe chargers. So I guess there's going to be a newer, updated charger. Let me put on reader view here. Okay. Let's see. You know what? I think I have to take reader view off because we seem to have lost a lot of the story that way. Okay. So, different phone and camera sizes. The iPhone 13 and 13 Pro models may end up being thicker than their iPhone 12 predecessors, according to a Mac Rumors report. And you can see the thicker 13 here compared to the 12. 13, 12, 13, 12. Both of these new models are expected to be 7.57 millimeters thick, up from 7.4 millimeters in the iPhone 12 models. However, that's a pretty small difference that most people probably won't notice. And if it's better battery, I would think most people would think it's pretty wonderful. More sizable could be a change to the camera bump. Mac Rumors reported while the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro have camera bumps around 1.5 millimeters and 1.7, the iPhone 13's bump will be 2.51 millimeters, and the 13 Pros will be 3.56 millimeters. The increased size will prevent the lenses from sticking out as much as they do on the older phones. I guess that's true. Okay. iPhone 13 could cost more than the iPhone 12. iPhone 13 isn't expected to be a major technical upgrade from the iPhone 12, which was the first to include 5G support. But according to an August report from DigiTimes, Apple is considering raising the price for its 2021 lineup to compensate for the increased cost of chip production from its supplier TSMC. Apple's supplier is looking to up the cost by as much as 20%. That's a pretty big bump for advanced and mature process technologies by January 2022. It's unclear based on the report how much the iPhone price could increase exactly. Analysts previously predicted that the iPhone 13 would cost around the same as the iPhone 12, the base version of which starts at $799. It's also possible that Apple may lower the price of the iPhone 13, as Samsung's Galaxy S20 FE and Google's Pixel 5 did in 2020. The newly released Samsung Galaxy S21 also boasted a lower price tag, starting at $200 lower than its predecessor. That's true. Most phones, including the iPhone 12, refresh at 60 frames per second or 60 hertz, but some, like Galaxy S21 and OnePlus 8 Pro, refresh at 120 hertz. There is speculation, which we just went over in the other article, that the 13's display will have a 120 hertz refresh rate. Okay. Of course, we talked about new and enhanced cameras, and they're hoping for the return of Touch ID. I don't see that happening. And of course, the Lightning port. So just wanted to skim through that just to see if we could point out any particular differences between the 12 and 13. Okay. See anything happening over here? Yeah, Brian, I'm with you 100%. No to iOS 15. Scanning my phone for whatever they want eventually. Yeah, you can bet they're going to keep pushing it. But I think with the amount of pushback they got, I think if we just keep keeping up that pushback, I don't think they'll implement it. That's my guess. Of course, unless they implement it without us even knowing it, which that's also a possibility. So, let me see, agrees. Yeah, Brian thinks they're going to cost more. I would guess so too, especially if they have to pay more. So that would be my guess also. Okay, and the last story. This is specifically about iOS 15. So probably do some skimming here too. Okay, this is from Gadgets 360 by Tasneem Akolawala. Okay, Akolawala. Okay, it took me a while. Okay, let's see if we can do anything with reader view here. Okay. iPhone 13 launch is set for September 14th. Ahead of that, Apple has started teasing iOS 15 features via notifications to its Tips app. Yes, I got it in my Tips at Sunday, I think it was. Tapping on this notification will take users to a brief tour highlighting all the big features coming with iOS 15. Yeah, I went through it. These include focus mode, live text and photos, voice isolation, new shared video with you section in apps, Safari tab groups, notification summaries, system-wide translation, AR-based walking directions in Apple Maps, and more. So sounds like they're throwing a lot in there. Ahead of the September 14th event, the Tips app is sending notifications to all iPhone users with a teaser of the upcoming features. Yeah, I guess we all got it, and it was very quick to go through. This notification was first spotted by Mac Rumors, is likely to have landed on all iPhones that have the Tips app pre-installed. The notification reportedly reads, "See what's coming in iOS 15." Yes, that's what it said. Learn about new features that will help you stay connected and find focus. The notification takes the user on a brief introduction of all features coming to the next iOS update. The iOS 15 preview has also gone live in the collection section of the Tips app. Gadgets 360 could independently verify. It is placed above a similar preview of the iOS 14 that may have been released last year. iOS 15's upcoming voice isolation feature cuts out the background noise during FaceTime. That's cool. And make sure your voice comes through loud and clear. So that's a nice improvement. The upcoming shared with you section in apps will let you find photos, music, websites, and other content that is sent to you by others. Focus mode will let you mute notifications you don't need when you work, exercise, and more. The AR-based street detection feature in Apple Maps will be available in select cities only. They're not telling us which cities. I guess we can go look it up. If we consider the iOS 14 release timeline, it can be speculated that iOS 15 may be released one day after the iPhone event, hopefully, on September 15th. The iPhone 13 range is expected to be unveiled at the event alongside the Apple Watch Series 7. So, looks like they've got some, in my opinion, some decent changes in iOS 15 and things that will make life a little bit better and easier. It's my guess. Okay, nothing new in the comments. Next story. This one I found interesting. I was hoping this story would tempt Ted into coming in, but I guess not. I'm always watching for whoever's coming in, so I'll let you know if anybody does come in, folks. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen. And this is again a story. Oh, no. That's wrong. That's the one I just looked at. I want this one. Yep. And this is the one I was hoping would tempt Ted. And this is on Android Authority. And this is why custom imaging chips are the next mobile photography battleground, which to me, this is a pretty interesting story. There are a growing number of smartphone manufacturers dabbling in custom imaging chips. What's behind this trend? And let's see if I can turn on reader view without losing half the article. Okay. Okay, good. So this is by Robert Triggs of N-Word Authority. Photography prowess sells smartphones. That's true. In fact, it's probably the biggest product differentiator in the market right now and has been for some years. Experimenting with different camera setups has produced the most robust and gimmicky photography packages in equal quantities, but the next smartphone photography war looks set to be fought in the image processing front. Chinese brands Vivo and Xiaomi are pushing into the market with in-house image signal processors, ISP in-house image signal processing, ISP, technology to augment the pre-bundled component you'll find inside a phone system on a chip. Oppo is also rumored to have its own chip in the works too. Google, of course, is looking to augment the photography capabilities of its upcoming Pixel 6 flagship with machine learning prowess inside its custom tensor SoC. Custom imaging chips are a trend that we're almost sure to see more of throughout 2022 for a couple of equally important reasons. The drive for better imaging. The obvious reason for investing in custom ISP technology is to improve image quality or to offer features you won't find on competing devices. For instance, Xiaomi Surge C1 promises improved low-light image quality, better focusing, and improved auto exposure and auto white balance, essentially making the cornerstones of photography even better. But advanced ISPs can also be used to implement faster, more powerful HDR and even machine learning technologies, something Google, no doubt, also has in mind for Tensor. While handset-grade image sensors continue to improve, smartphone cameras remain ultimately limited by the size of image sensors they can reasonably contain without unwieldy camera bumps or sacrificing battery capacity. To beat physics, smartphones increasingly turn to new technologies and processing techniques such as multi-ISO, multi-exposure, single-frame progressive HDR, and others to improve image quality. But these more powerful features are also driving the need for faster, more powerful, dedicated silicon, hence the growing emphasis on the role the ISP plays in a modern smartphone. Custom hardware helped Google's Pixel punch above its weight, and others are now embarking on a similar journey. As we mentioned earlier, Google was one of the earliest companies to highlight the importance and capabilities of augmenting the traditional smartphone imaging pipeline. While not quite conventional ISPs, Google's Pixel Visual Core and later Pixel Neural Core powered cutting-edge imaging technologies that saw its smartphones punch above their weight. Now the company has embarked on a bigger project, customizing the inner workings of the Pixel 6's Tensor SoC. It's hard not to draw comparisons between the Pixel story and other brands now embarking on their own imaging hardware journeys. Likewise, Qualcomm has been taking up the imaging processing capabilities of its Snapdragon SoCs for a couple of generations. As smartphones continue to push the boundaries of compact camera hardware, image processing and software capabilities will play an increasingly important role in driving innovation forward. Smartphone camera differentiation is set to become as much about custom silicon as it is about high-quality image sensors and lenses, although that's not the only reason companies may be turning to in-house silicon development. And China wants its own silicon. It's also not a coincidence that Chinese brands are pushing ahead with custom imaging silicon. China is heavily promoting national silicon development to cut its dependency on Western intellectual property. The ever-present threat that the U.S. can cut a company off from essential has only emphasized the importance of China's homegrown semiconductor design and manufacturing capabilities. Image signal processors are one of the few key smartphone silicon components that can be moved from outside the main SoC with relative ease. External machine learning chips are another possibility, and Chinese firms are forging ahead with in-house designs here too. But 5G, CPU, and graphics components are much more dependent on Western IP. Huawei is the only Chinese mobile silicon vendor with a significant modem IP to develop its own SoCs. But even it is dependent on CPU, GPU, and other technologies licensed from the West, at least for now. It's also worth noting that Xiaomi has already dabbled here with its low-end Surge S1 SoC. ISP development involves a healthy mix of number crunching, memory, and encoding circuit design. Specialized processor design could be a useful stepping stone towards more general designs of the future. Not forgetting, manufacturers get to experience the demands and requirements of chip manufacturing firsthand as well, something that's usually left to major SoC vendors like Apple, Huawei, Qualcomm, and Samsung. In another sense, you have to build your own hardware to be seen to compete with the big players. Custom silicon aims to show that brands can compete with big players like Apple and Samsung. This may only be a small part, but bringing specialist imaging in-house is another step towards silicon independence. Not to mention that ISP technology is useful for much more than smartphone cameras. Use cases span digital cameras, security devices, and facial recognition, automotive, and more. Essentially, anything with a camera requires an ISP, and that's an ever-expanding market. So custom ISP is the next mobile photography battleground. Mobile trends in advanced imaging and computational photography have been around for a few years now, pushing the boundaries of image quality in the smartphone form factor. Image signal processors are an integral part of the puzzle, powering the basics like autofocus and exposure through to advanced HDR and AI-based algorithms. The latest trend in custom ISP silicon is all about differentiation, I said it right. Improving image quality is objective number one, and new hardware is certainly helping to drive customer photography capabilities to new heights, as Google's Pixel lineup has acutely shown. On the other hand, silicon development is an equally key part of this differentiation, both in terms of building standout products and showcasing that these growing brands, particularly those in China, can compete with the silicon developers at Apple, Samsung, and others. Although consumers are probably only just becoming familiar with the idea, custom ISPs are likely to be a key part of smartphone photography and marketing pitches throughout 2022 and possibly beyond. So I just thought that was pretty interesting because it sounds like they're all going to try to do what Google does so successfully with its pixels. So interesting survey. Let's take a look at the comments. Got Michael Pepper Tech in here. Glad to have you here. I saw some leaked images taken with the Pixel 6, and they looked too surreal and like the HDR was overdone. I hope the person overdid the edits and that wasn't straight out of the phone. Interesting to see. Brian, they better patch that with an update. I heard the Pixel 6 should improve the HDR with video. Yeah, and that's what I've heard too. Michael again. Video and portrait video is said to be incredible with their SoC. Let's hope so. Let's see. ISP advancements are why we see companies able to use the same sensors year after year, but the images and video quality substantially improved with new SoCs and such, hardware and software. And Brian, video improvements would be welcome, and noise control with pictures. The front camera of the Pixels need work and autofocus as well. Brian always has the insightful comments. I like that. Let's see. Pixel needs improvements in noise, especially grain and night photos, in particular with water. I've noticed the same thing, especially in night photos with sky. See, Michael. Okay, so Brian. Soon a picture is going to be a product of merging 64. I don't know what that means. Merging 64. Let's see, Brian is saying frames. And Renz is at work. Glad to have you back, Renz. Let's see. Okay. Everybody's saying hello to Renz. Okay. So it sounds like these image processing SoCs are going to be pretty interesting, and be interesting to see if they actually do catch up with Google Pixels. I guess we'll find out, especially with the Pixel 6. I expect it to be much, much better. Okay, next story is about the ongoing chip shortage. Oh, and by the way, I wanted to mention that, oh, and Renz, maybe you weren't here, for any of those who weren't here, I did get the Z Flip 3 today after canceling my order, and the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic. After canceling my order with Samsung, when they sent me email today saying it's going to be at least 30 more days, and it's been a month already as of tomorrow since I put my pre-order in. But I was discussing this with Missy earlier. The fact that they put it on pre-order and then they just left it sitting there day after day, and believe me, I was checking every day. Nothing changed. I actually got on chat with one of the guys from Samsung, and he said it was because I ordered the gray version on the US site, which made it a custom one, and of course that wasn't it. And they're not willing to admit, you know, they probably sold all the phones they had, and they're having chip issues. And so now all the rest of us who had ordered the phone, well, now we're pushed back another month. And I just decided I'm not waiting 2 months to get this phone, so canceled my order and ordered at Best Buy today. Let's see, Michael has another comment here. For me, the processing speeds are what I'm looking forward to versus lower-end SoCs. The wait between captures can cause us to miss great photo opportunities. That is absolutely correct, Michael. Couldn't agree with you more. Okay, going on to the next story. And the reason I mentioned what I did about Samsung, because the next story has to do with chip shortages. So, share the screen. And this was on BBC News. Why is there a chip shortage? By Chris Baranuk, guess. So let's see if I can review without, no, okay, we're good. Okay, today millions of products, cars, washing machines, smartphones, and more rely on computer chips, also known as semiconductors. And right now, there just aren't enough of them to meet industry demand. As a result, many popular products are in short supply. Yeah, don't I know that? It has become almost impossible to buy a PS5 games console. Toyota, Ford, and Volvo have had to either slow or temporarily halt production at their factories. Yes, Ford temporarily shut down 6 plants in the U.S. last week, and GM shut down I think one in Canada and one here in the US. So yeah, they're all suffering. Smartphone makers are feeling the pinch too, with Apple warning that the shortage could affect iPhone sales. And at least Apple's honest about it. Samsung wasn't honest with me about it, I guarantee you that. Even companies that wouldn't necessarily be associated with computer chips haven't been spared, such as CSSI International, a US firm that makes dog grooming machines, is feeling the effects far out. But chips are in everything nowadays. Some shoppers have already noticed these problems. Sales of used cars are up, for instance, because new vehicles, often packed with thousands of individual chips, are in short supply. And I can tell you, working for Enterprise, we're getting new cars, but much, much slower than we got them, say, a year ago. So I'm sure it's affecting everybody everywhere. Chris Halpin, a musician based in North Warwickshire, is one of the many who have experienced disappointment. Mr. Halpin has cerebral palsy and leases a car to the Motability scheme. His current lease ends in October, and under the rules of the scheme, he must replace his car at that time. However, his local dealership has told him that the car he ordered has been delayed until January next year at the earliest. As a disabled person, I am really reliant on my car, says Mr. Halpin. He uses a wheelchair. Where I live, I literally couldn't get beyond my drive without a car. Thankfully, Mr. Halpin says that Mobility agreed to extend the lease and insurance on his current car until the new one arrives. In the coming months, and particularly over Christmas, it's possible that even more products will fall foul of the shortage. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. The chips that are in short supply perform various functions in modern products, and there are often more than one in a single device. Like a car, probably hundreds. Peter Ezdentemsky is the founder and owner of One Bit Squared, a US-based firm that specializes in electronics hardware. He has orders on his books for several thousand electronic interface boards, which allow students and makers to connect various appliances to their computers. But Mr. Ezdentemsky's suppliers say that some of the components he needs containing semiconductors will not be available for 12 months or more. That's a long time. You cannot just assemble and miss one part. It won't work. The situation has been developing for years, not just months. Corey Kose, an analyst at Gartner, says that among the pressures facing the chip industry prior to the pandemic were the rise of 5G, which increased demand, and the decision by the US to prevent the sale of semiconductors and other technology to Huawei. Chip makers outside the US were quickly flooded with orders from the Chinese firm. Other, less obvious manufacturing complexities have also hampered the supply of certain components. For example, there are two main approaches to chip production right now, using 200 millimeter or 300 millimeter wafers. This refers to the diameter of this circular silicon wafer that gets split into lots of tiny chips. The large wafers are more expensive and are often used for more advanced devices. But there's a boom in demand for lower cost chips, which are embedded in an ever wider variety of consumer products, I'm sure, meaning the older 200 millimeter technology is more sought after than ever. Industry news site Semiconductor Engineering highlighted the risk of a chip shortage, partly due to a lack of 200 millimeter manufacturing equipment back in February 2020. So yeah, that's even before we even knew about the pandemic. As the pandemic unfolded, early signs of fluctuating demand led to stockpiling and advanced ordering of chips by some tech firms, which left others struggling to acquire the components. People working from home had needed laptops, tablets, and webcams to help them do their jobs, and chip factories did close during lockdowns. At times, consumers have struggled to buy the devices they want, though manufacturers have so far been able to catch up with demand eventually. Mr. Kose says, however, that the pandemic was not the sole cause of the chip shortage. I agree. This was probably just the last drop in the bucket. Yeah, I agree. It must have been coming on for years. More recently, bad luck has exacerbated the problem. An atrocious winter storm in Texas shut down semiconductor factories, and a fire at a plant in Japan caused similar delays. Logistical headaches are compounding this situation. Oliver Chapman, chief executive of OCI, a global supply chain partner, says that for many years the cost of shipping was not of great concern for many tech firms because their products are relatively small and suppliers could fit lots of them inside of a single 40-foot container. But the cost of moving shipping containers around the world has ballooned because of sudden shifts in demand during the pandemic. It is accompanied by a rise in air freight fees and the lorry driver shortage in Europe. Yeah, I guess there's starting to be a truck driver shortage here in America too. Sending a single 40-foot container from Asia to Europe currently costs $17,000, says George Griffiths, editor of Global Container Markets at S&P Global Platts. That's a greater than tenfold increase compared to a year ago, where it costs around $1,500. Yeah, that's a big jump. Chip makers are responding to sustained demand by increasing capacity, but that takes time, says Mr. Kosey, not least because semiconductor factories cost billions of dollars to build. This is not going to be solved by this Christmas, and I find it hard to believe it will be solved by the next Black Friday. Because bosses at the tech giants appear sharply aware of this. The chief executives of Intel and IBM have both said recently that the chip shortage could last for years. I did read one by IBM that said that. Seda Mimic, professor of electrical and computer engineering and computer science at Northwestern University, agrees. It will take multiple years to accomplish a better balance. She also says that the pace of demand for chips has been rising so strongly that a shortage was at some point inevitable. Yeah, that's probably true, even without a pandemic. Establishing new chip factories is difficult to do quickly, she adds. It's extremely expensive and requires a well-trained workforce. It's a potential spanner in the works for those who advocate reshoring, relocating chip fabrication to a wider variety of countries, including those in the West, in order to ease the pressure on global supply chains. Mr. Chapman isn't convinced that the market is up for grabs. He argues that Asia-based chip makers such as those in Taiwan, China, and South Korea are already racing to meet demand and will likely continue to dominate in the future. I would agree. Mr. Kosey says that consumers aren't likely to notice price rises or widespread shortages of tech products this Christmas. Certain in-demand devices, such as game consoles, could become hard to get, with customers having to wait a few months for the item they want. However, he doesn't expect interminable delays. The bottom line is the pandemic accelerated an already precarious situation for chip makers. We're in the middle of a tech boom. Supply can't quite keep up, and it won't get sorted out overnight. It means all sorts of people, including those seeking a new car like Mr. Halpin, could continue to experience delays and disappointment for months to come. So I don't think any of us are going to see any relief from the chip shortage anytime soon. And I would think there's probably going to be a pretty good effect on people buying stuff at Christmas. Thank you, Renzi. Sorry to hear about the bad news of your order. Bad Sammy. I agree. See, Michael says he got the Z Fold 3 on pre-order and picked up the Galaxy Watch Classic at Best Buy yesterday. Yeah, I just finally went to Best Buy today and bought them both. Traded in my Apple Watch Series 4 and the AirPods and got $200 off plus a $40 voucher and deal, and so far I love it. Yeah, I traded in my Pixel 3 and Samsung was going to give me $250 for it. Well, Best Buy gave me $200 and I took it. So I'm happy. But yeah, he said, yeah, I got the Z Flip 3 in Best Buy. It took me about 15 minutes in the store to get everything done. So, and I didn't want to be late for the broadcast, and I wasn't. So I was good. So we're going to be slowed down by chip shortages for a while. And I'm sure there are people, lots of places like me, who couldn't get the Z Flip 3 because of it. Probably lots of places around the world, same thing. Okay, now on to our minor stuff. It's probably going to be a quick show again because it's just me. I didn't realize I had another one from Gadgets 360, but that's okay. Here's another one from Gadgets 360. Google Pixel 5, Pixel 4, Pixel 3 series getting September Android security update, all details. Pixel 5, 4, Pixel 4 XL, Pixel 3, Pixel 3 XL, and more global models are getting, and it gives the number for the firmware. And I can tell you, both my Pixel 4a and my Pixel 5 got the September update last night. So I know this is true. Just wanted to make you people aware that it's out there already, and I guess we should all be getting it, those of us who have Pixels. So let's see if I can turn on reader mode. Reader view. Okay. Google has started rolling out September Android security update for compatible Pixel phones. This includes the Pixel 3, Pixel 3 XL, Pixel 3a, Pixel 3a XL, Pixel 4, Pixel 4 XL, Pixel 4a, Pixel 4a 5G, Pixel 5, and Pixel 5a models. That's right, because my 4a and 5a both got it. The tech giant says that the update will roll out over the air. It will roll out in phases depending on carrier and handset. This means it may take weeks before all units receive the September Android update. All compatible Pixel phone users will receive a notification once the update becomes available. I just went and checked my, was pulling this article, and it was there on both phones already. Google made the September Android security update announcement via support page. The firmware build number is RQ3A.21090.5.001 for global Pixel 3, Pixel 3 XL, Pixel 3a, Pixel 3a XL, Pixel 4, Pixel 4 XL, Pixel 4a, Pixel 4a 5G, and Pixel 5 units. I'm getting pretty good at reading this. Oh, cool. Hold everything. Let me stop sharing for a minute. Let's see if okay, Mark is here.
All right. All right.
I never put my earphones in. I can't hear a thing because I've been doing all the talking.
I heard that I heard you say it was going to be
all the time.
I heard you say that you're gonna shut it down because it was just you. You're gonna shut it down early. No. We're gonna keep this thing going.
Okay.
All right. How's my audio? Am I okay? You can hear me?
You're good. Yeah.
Cool.
But because I've streamed by myself for 3 weeks in a row, I didn't even notice I didn't have my earbuds on.
How you doing, George? Thanks for having me again.
I'm glad you came in, brother.
Oh.
Let's see. The one thing I've been through a bunch of stories, but the one thing I showed them tonight is went out and got this tonight after work.
Okay. All right. Where's the Apple logo?
And I got this too. Galaxy Watch 4 Z Fold.
If at least you got both of them. I know there's people that get one or the other or mix and match.
Exactly. But let me give you they've heard the backstory. Let me give you the quick back. I ordered the Z Flip and the watch before the event ended on August 11th, pre-order. It just sat there. I've been checking it every day. I actually talked to them in chat, and he said, "Oh, because you ordered the gray one, it's a customizable, so that's why." Which was nonsense. Today, I get a email from Samsung saying, "Oh, it's going to be at least 30 more days. You can cancel." I just canceled everything.
Yeah.
I went to 2 T-Mobile stores. All I got was a runaround. I went to Best Buy, and Samsung was going to give me $250 for my Pixel 3a.
I heard that part.
Best Buy only gave me $200, but I took it, and I'm happy.
Right. So what I heard was that they were taking forever. Otherwise, they were dragging their feet, or rather, not moving at all. Right on your order. So then, that's not worth it.
they're not admitting it's got to be the chip shortage, but they're not saying. At least Apple's honest enough to say so. You know.
Yeah.
So
And
so I'm happy.
this was would you say was it Google or which Google or
Where I bought it? No, no, Samsung.
Samsung Galaxy? Okay.
Yeah.
Again, I
No.
don't know. I don't keep up that much. I think I did admit that last on the very first stream ever. By the
Yes,
way,
you did.
shout out to everyone in the chat. I haven't loaded it up. My mid 2012 takes forever, so I will eventually address the chat. But shout out to the chat. Shout out to the lurkers. Shout
Yeah,
out to Mobile
look at
Geezer.
this. The chat is happy you're here. Look at the screen. See? It ran.
Friends,
See?
yo, Miss
Okay.
E, how are you? And I think is Michael Pepper still here? I hope not.
Oh, you've got that same relationship.
Here we
with
go.
him?
This is it.
Okay.
The real reason. Also,
Michael,
I saw him in the chat. So
if you're still here, type something in the chat just to bust his chops.
with his long comments, it's supposed to be a comment section, not a story section.
But he's making insightful comments that are relevant. Yo, Android studies here. Hey, Leo, glad to have you here, brother.
Android. And of course, it's Mobile Geezer being Mobile Geezer and the kind soul that he is. So he has to uplift he has to defend Michael Pepper while he's not exactly here. So Ted's here, but he's not here again.
Yeah, Ted. I haven't seen anything from Ted, but Ted is here. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
he's here, but he's not here.
Okay, he likes to be the invisible man. Okay,
but he wants to be seen at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
He wants to be heard even when he's not talking, so he doesn't mute himself on audio social network chats.
Oh, and I did want to say Michael is still here. Good for you, Michael. I did want to say, since you said I was being the kind soul, of course I'm a kind soul. I'm a soul brother. Oh.
Hey, there we go.
Or I guess we could say, I'm a soul man.
I thought you were going to say, I've got soul, but I'm not a soldier.
Oh, that one I don't know. There you go. Look at, he's all over it.
I got you this time. He's
updating the old guy.
Usually you're the one with those random vocal riffs, but I got you.
That's true. Today I was listening to I've been waiting for a girl like you to come into my life.
Oh,
so I'm listening. Now, last night, it shows you how diverse I can be. Last night, I got hung up listening to George Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue, and then I did all my exercise to Rimsky-Korsakov's Scheherazade. So I kind of go in all directions when it comes to music,
Gotcha.
And she's making fun of my puns. You have a lot of nerve, lady. What's Michael saying? George has to be nice to me. He knows he's my third favorite Hayes. Now, who would the first?
I know who number one.
Isaac has to be one.
Absolutely, okay. Because of South Park, right?
Oh, okay.
He's hello, children. Okay. No, you don't see it. It's they're okay. They're they can get
episode.
They can get a little out there, and the early stuff is like crude in the animation and in the humor, but they're more good jokes, or I guess better jokes than it's really close. Like, so here's one of the general rules.
But you were say better than mine.
You have to be they have a TV show, so it's an internet show. There's lower requirements. So you have to be the rule generally, or at least obviously you can break the rules, but usually you want to be funnier than you are offensive. So if a joke is this offensive, you want to be this funny. Anywhere from here above. If the joke is this offensive, then you got to be again up here.
That's a good formula. I like that formula. And usually, Michael, you'll at least be proud of me because I did used to sing Shaft in bands. I'm only talking about Shaft.
Yeah, of course. But so usually those South Park guys, they push the envelope, but most of the time it'll be just like 1% more funny than offensive. But that's where obviously they don't care, and a lot of people try to cancel them all the time, and they're like, it's my show. How are you going to make me stop doing my show? So
people can do what they want, but people like me, people like Miss E, probably like Jay Will. We're probably not going to watch a show like South Park.
There are some, you know what? One of the things is that even when they do have something that's that is gold, they just because they know it's good, they go ahead and do their wacky.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
sometimes even it's too much for me. Sometimes I can do without because I'm like, okay, all right, you know, okay, yeah,
Good.
you're
Now
the
I
South
feel
Park,
better.
you're the South Park guys. Sure, sure, sure. Okay, but go ahead. But there's every now and then I do recommend. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I do recommend certain episodes. I'm like, just you know just sit through it and get to like the main, and you'll see how the way that they can like hold a mirror up to a society and be like, look,
Yeah, I can see that.
this is
I
what
can
you
see
look
that.
like, and this is our way of what you're saying, or like, you know what I mean? So how they can point
Ted,
out hypocrisies, whether it's
yeah,
celebrity
and I'm sure they're good at that. Ted
or
is saying you're supposed to say no. It's and it has to be Miss E since she's the only female in here. She has to say, well, we can dig it. All right, so I'm
uh,
going to say I'm only talking about Chef now, Miss E. We're going to wait for you to type in. Well,
going
we
out.
can dig it. Okay.
Yeah,
And Michael says
I'm not that.
19th
Thing.
President Rutherford B. Hayes. That's true. And Ira Hayes. I know Ira Gershwin. That was
Wait,
George.
so Isaac wasn't on your list at all, dude?
Yeah, that surprised
Where are
me.
the mods? Can we get the mods in here? Yeah, moderators, George.
No, actually, I don't have any.
You may want
When
to get
George
the.
picks on you, you have to appreciate a good hazing, pun intended. Very good. Did you get it? Hazing? I like that. That's my kind of humor right there. Okay, so I was just doing an article about the Pixel phones getting the September Android update, and I was saying, as soon as I was researching for this article last night, I looked on my Pixel 4a and 5a, and they both got the September update. So,
Nice.
So that's enough of that story. I only had. Oh, this to me was the most interesting story I came up with
Sure.
because, and you'll see why. Being a black man, you'll certainly see why.
Uh-oh.
Um,
How do you know what makes you think I'm a black man?
no, I'm talking about me.
Oh,
I'm
okay, okay.
talking about me. Okay. Okay. This story was pretty weird, so I'm going to bring it up here. Share. This I found on BBC News in the technology section. So, Facebook apology as AI labels black men primates. Okay, interesting story. Now let's see if I can get
Oh, I
rear view
just
on.
about that one.
If Facebook users who watched a newspaper video featuring black men were asked if they wanted to keep seeing videos about primates. How's that? By an artificial intelligence recommendation system. Facebook told BBC News it was clearly an unacceptable error, disabled the system, and launched an investigation. We apologize to anyone who may have seen these offensive recommendations. Now, as a programmer of 34 years, I don't usually subscribe to much of the systemic racism stuff, but do I think that was a mistake? No, I do not. There's no program in the world who would let do you want to keep seeing videos about primates who would let that slip through? There's no way in the world I believe that was an accident. That was some racist jerk somewhere at Facebook. That's my guess. Just my opinion, of course.
Yeah. Even if someone was, joking or what have you, it's like maybe okay, here's one thing, here's one angle. Is there a chance they didn't intend for it to go out and be in the final, you know what I mean?
That is definitely a possibility, and
But
that does happen with
it was being
programs.
floated around in whoever
Yeah,
that
exactly.
engineer's circle of
Yeah.
friends was. Hey, check this out or whatever.
And
And then
somebody let it slip into the public part. Yes, and that kind of thing does happen, but there's no way in the world I believe the whole thing was a mistake. There's no way in the world I believe.
I think too many people's it goes through too many sets of eyes and hands, right? For something like that.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
the only other angle they could take is that it was a 100% AI thing, and well, I mean, now we have racist AI, or what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I guess that's what they want to convince us of. Anyway, I
I think
just threw that in there because I just thought that was such a it just stuck out to me and it offended me, you know. So just an interesting story.
Let's see
Uh,
what else you want to
uh,
talk about, or
do you
discuss.
have anything you want to talk about before I only have one more story left. You want to do the last story and then
I'm
do
getting
open-ended stuff?
I'm getting this tweet ready to go here, just to if anyone else wanted to stop in before you called it for the week, because I know we only get to see you once a week, and I
That's
don't know if that's enough.
no. Well, thank you, Mark. That's very nice of you.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
All right, there it is.
uh,
I just fired
and
it away.
there's Miss E's comment about the last story, and I agree. Okay, where's your tweet?
Yeah, I think I did tag. Did I tag you? I did tag you. You and Ted are tagged in it. I tried to look for. I typed in Ren's, but Ren's, your thing didn't pop up, and I wanted to get the tweet out. So maybe I'll add you in a comment and
No,
tag yourself, or you should
let
have
me see.
notifications for me. I'm pretty big deal over here. No, I'm just kidding. But
Oh
am I?
yeah, yeah. Mobile Ziza said it's going to be a short show because I'm the only one here, so I had to fire up my streaming bit. So what we're saying is Mark to the rescue, and I appreciate it, brother.
Of course, man.
Yeah.
You're doing it. Were you did Ted leave you hanging last week too?
Yes.
Or but you
I
were on
mean,
his channel.
no. The last 3 weeks, it's all been me and just
Oh
me.
my
But
God.
Ted's busy with his job. Ted's busy with his photography
Everyone's
career
busy.
too. So
Everyone's busy, George.
Ted, he's not cutting you any slack whatsoever.
Why would I?
Oh wait,
I just told you that he's here without being here. Come on now.
that's true. But it's a lot easier to go type in a couple of comments than it is to get on the shows. I have to give him credit there.
No, let's not assume that
You
reading or
don't cut
writing.
anybody any slack, do
Let's
you?
not. Well, then let's not speak for Ted and how difficult reading or writing might be for him, let alone typing.
Ooh,
There's at least
ooh.
26, you know,
Yeah, maybe if you
27,
insult him enough, he'll come in.
27 and 28 keys that he has to use when he types. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Unless he's doing that voice to text, and you know how he is with his who does he talk to? Alexa. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Ted, you gonna take this crap? You need to get in here and defend yourself, brother.
oh, man.
Michael's making a comment on the last story.
Yeah.
There's been times this has happened before. Alexa had an issue where the responses were inappropriately trained and would come back colloquialisms that were racist. I didn't know about that one.
Well,
Interesting.
there's the thing where it's made by people, or rather people either that were directly involved with it, but also after the fact because it learns from its users, right?
Well, that's true.
Some of their users have some of these, preferences.
If somebody in the Ku Klux Klan group was using Alexa,
Yeah.
they learned a lot.
Yeah, I'm telling you, everyone, all of the of groups of like that.
Yeah,
I mean, you figure it would make sense for like even from say East Coast to West Coast that they'll have how they call things over there, how we call things over here.
that's true.
Gonna learn not just the
It is
bad stuff,
different.
but
That's true. Big differences. Yeah. Now, here's Michael with some more of my kind of humor. I talk about cutting nobody's slack. Mark doesn't work in the pants fairy. No cutting slacks. I like it.
got
I
that right.
like it.
But I did
Keep it
sell
up, Michael.
Levi's. I did sell Levi's for a
There
while,
you go.
but
Okay.
that's denim.
So you used to fall into the. Okay.
Yeah. You know me.
Okay.
How was your week? How's it been over here without Ted? I guess pretty good then, right? Peaceful.
My week's been pretty good. Missy and I talk a lot and text a lot. So.
Oh, you know what? I don't have the people whistling the audience, where they go with the eyebrows.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I don't have that sound effect yet. So
Yeah, well, we're talking a lot.
well, that's good, man.
We're
I
good.
mean, right now you and I are talking, so
That's true. And since you're not beating me up the way you do Ted and Michael, I guess I need to be grateful. Yossi came in here, my hero.
well, I mean, you can. I know you can handle it, but I don't know if it's a good idea to be the first one to take a punch at George Hayes over here.
I was raised in Hudson County, New Jersey, where The Sopranos was, based in that same area, and I was raised with those same guys, so I can pretty much take whatever I need to take. Okay.
I mean that TV show with actors and actresses and divas
Yes,
with producers.
Except my guys were for real. They weren't actors and actresses.
There we go.
Let me put it this way: when I was a teenager, some of the teenagers I was raised with, who were all mafia types, thought it was fun to torture other teenagers. That was their idea of fun. Yeah. So these are the kind of guys I was raised around. So I can pretty much take whatever I have to take.
Nice, man. Good. Except for Michael in the chat. Let's see. He had another joke that was so funny I forgot to laugh. So my apologies there, Michael
He
Pepper.
sold Levi's, no Kevins or Peters for sale. Oh, that's even by my standard, that's terrible.
That one.
Which I guess if he's anything like me, he's probably very proud of that, you know.
Of course he is. But pride's a sin, Michael.
That's true. Now, I've got one story left. Did you pull up the stories at all?
I did not.
Okay. I was going to let you read it. About socials.
As long as it's not too controversial, or nothing that's too controversial I can't make fun of, and you know.
No, yeah, you might have a hard time. This is about
the serious one. I don't want it if it's a serious one.
All right, then I'll read it.
You say where do you get these stories from? Why can't you, like, you know, a puppy was rescued story or something like that? Why can't you get some of those?
Well, that's true.
The world is dark and scary. We know this.
Well, I did have one good story. The Pixels got their September update. So
you're telling this to an Apple sheep.
Well, I was telling it to the general audience, you know.
Oh. All right, let's hear it. Let's see it. Let's see what's going on with this.
I'm still on Apple, guys. See? I got my iPhone 12 Pro, you know.
Okay.
That's not going anywhere.
You're lucky it's the Pacific Blue, to be specific, so.
Oh, actually, no. That's just my case.
Oh, okay. Maybe I caught the...
I think this was the first iPhone I got that was not product red. I forgot what color it is. Let's see.
Yeah, you know what? What would you...
there it is. Yeah, you're right. I did get Pacific Blue.
Yeah, that's Pacific Blue, man. Of course. Yeah. What are you telling? What are you trying to trick me for over here? Huh?
And just to make you feel better, I have my iPhone 12 Pro here. In front of me, I have my AirPods. I have my iPad Pro in back of me. And I have my MagSafe charger over there too. So I have, you know, my Apple products.
Good. What would you think of a product red stainless steel Pro and Pro Max iPhone?
I would think that would be great.
Wouldn't that be interesting to see?
I would think that would be awesome.
Hell to the yeah.
But because I got the Z Fold 3 and paid close to full price. So it'll be a little while before I spend money on another phone, either the iPhone or the Pixel.
But you knew that Apple's having an event in just a handful of days, right?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Yeah. Making sure.
And I also bought something else from Best Buy the other day as a present, but you guys will find out about that later. So.
Unless he's watching this right now. You didn't think about that.
She already knows about it, so it doesn't matter. Okay, my last story. Then I'll get it out of the way. I love having you on because you are just interesting no matter what. Oh, stud. Leo, thank you so very much, sir. I really appreciate it. And and Renz was first, as always. Thank you, Renz. Renz is busy, but he makes sure he comes through. He's good.
See you, man.
Stud came through big time. Thanks, Leo. Appreciate it very, very much, brother.
Look, there you go. You got your first $9 for the 13.
But here's the thing. This is from Android Stud, and he's saying iPhone 13. He can't stand Apple anything. Okay.
The mixed signal here.
Yeah. When he bought an iPhone last year, he couldn't stand it. I think he got rid of it in like 2 weeks. You know, so that's
the return policy. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So
it would have been more. It would have had more of an oomph if you got rid of it after the 2 weeks, where you get 100% of your money back plus
exactly. But see, that was extremely nice. That would be extremely nice of anybody, but especially of Leo. I can tell you. So, all right, last story. I'm going to share it, and you don't want to read the bad stuff, so I'll read it.
You can People can get angry at you.
Okay. Social media giants increase global child safety after UK regulations introduced, and this would, again was on the Guardian. So let me read a view on here. Okay. TikTok has turned off notifications for children past bedtime. Instagram has disabled targeted adverts for under 18s entirely, and YouTube has turned off autoplay for teen users. Move seemingly triggered by Britain introducing a new set of regulations aimed at protecting children online. So, see, it is a good story when you get right down to it. On Thursday, the UK introduced a new set of regulations aimed at protecting children, and at a stroke became a global leader in the field, with the prospect of multi-million-dollar fines for companies that breached this new age-appropriate design code, leading to a cascade of last-minute changes across some of Silicon Valley's largest players. I think that's very good. It's still free to read. This is not a paywall. We're committed to keeping our quality reporting open. By registering, providing us with insight into your preferences, you're helping us to engage with you more deeply, and that allows us to keep our journalism free for all. You'll also be able to control your own. That's their advertisement. Never mind. Rather than applying the changes just to the UK as they would legally be required to do, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube have made the changes global. That proves, said Biman Kidron, the crossbench peer who introduced the code into law, that a mid-sized country such as Britain can have a meaningful effect on the global internet. If one code can create societal change, she said, then actually what it means is they're not exempt. This tech exceptionalism that has defined the last decade, we are different, just disappears in a puff of smoke. It ought to be something the government, which has been outspoken about its desire to make the UK the safest place in the world to be online, is championing from the rooftops. But instead, the code came into effect with little fanfare or attention, except those from deep in the world of child safety regulation, which is exactly how it passed into law in the first place. Well, good for them. The code was introduced as an amendment to the Data Protection Act 2018, a technical piece of legislation intended mostly to implement GDPR into UK law. The act crept through the Commons without incident thanks to Theresa May's small majority, but in the House of Lords received myriad amendments from little to large. Typically, a government with a Commons majority can fairly easily bat away such alterations. But Kidron's formidable personal lobbying caught the eye of the DCMS ministers, particularly Margot James, then Minister for Digital. Within a half an hour, she had persuaded me of the importance of the code that she had amended the bill to incorporate, and thought it made a lot of sense. Very good. It wasn't government policy, she adds, at least before Lady Kidron burst into the scene. It wasn't government policy. Kidron's one-line amendment gave little detail on what the age-appropriate design code should be, other than simply requiring the Information Commissioner to create one in the first place. But combined with a government push to increase the powers of the ICO, the end result has been transformative. Unless they can prove their service is not likely to be used by all children, companies now face a choice. They must make their entire offering compatible with the code, or attempt to identify younger users and treat them with care. The code prohibits the use of nudge technologies aimed at encouraging children to give up more of their privacy good than they would otherwise choose. Calls on companies to minimize the data they collect about children, and requires them to offer children privacy options that default to the maximum security. For such wide-ranging requirements, many expected fearsome lobbying from the tech industry against the code, but instead the opposite have happened. Well, that's very good. Not only have the world's largest companies made substantial changes to their products in the weeks before the code would force them to, they've actively denied that they were doing so under duress, instead claiming that the changes were what they wanted to do all along. Let's hope that's true. A Google spokesperson said its updates extended beyond any single current or upcoming regulation, for instance, while a Facebook spokesperson said its update wasn't based on any specific regulation. Why do I tend to believe Google and not believe Facebook? No, that's just me. Other companies have yet to introduce any specific changes at all. Twitter, for instance, declined to answer questions about how it had approached complying with the code. And for many critics, the social network, which applies little scrutiny to users' ages beyond the request to enter self-declared birth date on sign-up, is one of the key targets for action. But Twitter does tend to let people say more, I would guess, outrageous things than most other platforms. Wouldn't you agree, Mark? Yes, no? Hey, you're reading something else.
Yeah, the comments over here. Michael.
Okay. Okay. All right.
One more time. What's the
question? I said Twitter, in my opinion, does let people make more outrageous comments than most other platforms.
And not just comments, man. There's some adult stuff going on some pages. I didn't know.
Exactly. Okay.
I didn't know that was possible.
Okay, so it's not surprising that Twitter is the one who didn't step up with the rest of these guys. But the next steps are in the hands of the Information Commissioner's Office. Although the code took legal effect on 2nd September, it's the ICO that decides when and whether to levy fines for breaches. Ellie Todd, a partner at law firm Reed Smith, said she expected the office to take its responsibility seriously. We wholly expect that the ICO will be following up with tech companies and others to see what changes have actually been made now or are made over the coming months. However, one of the most interesting questions around engagement in the AADC concerns not the regulators, but the children and teens themselves. Teens are tech savvy and reluctant to be treated differently, so it remains to be seen how much of an impact filters and nudges towards positive behavior can make. For Kidron, the success of the code's passages is in the past. Her attentions now lie on the government's true flagship internet regulation, the Online Safety Bill. I work with a lot of children, both here in the UK and internationally. And the thing that has absolutely sideswiped me is that in over 23 countries and more than 1,000 children, they all agree about what digital world they want. It is less important that they're in Rwanda, Kenya, or Virginia, US, or Berlin, or London, because they're all using the same services, designed the same way, and having the same experience. How this technology is designed is curating the experience of childhood. And I don't think people would have understood that. That's true. Today, technology does curate your entire childhood. That's probably true. Anyway, that's enough of that article. I just wanted to get it out there. So you see, Margaret turned out to be a good article, not a bad article.
Yeah, well, then why were you telling me that it might have been?
Well, I got carried away with myself.
Okay. Yeah, was that a joke? You're joking.
No, actually, you probably wasn't paying enough attention.
Exactly what story it was going to turn out to be.
That makes sense. Exactly. I'm just checking the comments here.
Just some more Michael.
Look at it, Michael. I guess Miss MC Squared likes my jokes. And I love that. She does like your jokes. She said true. What was she saying true to? Okay. So you guys know her as Miss C, so that's what I call her, but I actually call her Ellie when we're talking, which is what she likes to be called anyway. So, and Michael says Twitter is pretty vulgar at times as well. Oh, he says Instagram is pretty vulgar. I have never seen anything vulgar on Instagram, but maybe because I don't follow vulgar people. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see, Michael said that's what I was alluding to. Didn't want to use that particular word just in case YouTube flagged and stuff. Okay, good. All right. And there's the word. That's right. Debauchery is the word, you know.
I mean, it is the internet, but come on.
Yeah, I agree. You know, and you know, with born again Christians like me and Emily, and you know, we're not going to say stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
So, and we're probably not going to read stuff like that. So anyway, so what else did you want to talk to? That's my full stories. You've already made it a ton more fun than it was before you got here. Trust me.
Thanks, man. That's my plan anywhere I go, whether it's the library, the DMV, court.
DMV. If you can make the DMV fun, you're really an amazing person. Okay.
Uh,
And I
yeah,
appreciate the fact that you got your hair back the way I actually like it.
that I
You had
remember.
changed it.
I remember before I came on, and I was like, you know what? And I saw myself
That's cool.
in the little square. I'm like, oh wait, hold on, I can do it.
See
We're
that,
there.
folks? He's kind to old folks. That's nice.
Well, like I legally have to be, don't I?
Legally, no, but I appreciate it.
That's one
And
of the
Michael,
few. That's one of the few laws that I may reconsider breaking, at least on national internet.
okay.
You know what I
Now,
mean?
Michael's saying Flossie Carter videos you show some filthy stuff can be a social. Now, what I learned over the years with Flossie, I used to try to watch his Saturday night stuff, his Sunday night stuff, and it just got too vulgar. It was too vulgar for me.
Mm.
But I love Flossie's reviews. He does a great job, and he tones it down a lot. But when he's just out there and he's drinking and hanging out, I just can't take it. But he's a brilliant guy, a terrific guy. So, what is he saying? You were a fun guy. There was plenty of space for him if you thought that wasn't mushroom for him. Oh, very good. Wasn't mushroom? That was really good, Mike.
I like.
He's got me beat.
Now you're improving, Michael. Let's just let's continue.
Okay.
Keep it up. See if you can.
So, Michael, for people like you and me, when people say we're improving, that means our humor isn't as bad as it should be, in my opinion.
George, you missed it. I set you up. You were supposed to say that's what she said to Michael Pepper.
I never say that.
That I'm hoping. Well, okay.
I
I
never
know he
say
heard
that.
me. I know he has the gutter ball mind sometimes too. So he heard me. I don't need to say it again. But there's nothing wrong with me saying it again.
No,
So
I agree. I agree.
just
It's
this
just not a
upward
phrase that I say. That's
this
all.
upward trend that I hope Michael Pepper can keep it up. That's all. That's all it was. In case you guys missed it. All right. Okay.
I got it.
Oh well, that's true. Yeah, always.
Now he said he had dad jokes before he was even a dad. So
Same here.
Michael has kids, I gather.
Yes.
So I guess they go around their house saying, "I'm a Pepper, he's a Pepper, she's a Pepper. Wouldn't you like to be a Pepper too?" I would think.
You got me.
You gotta be old. You gotta be old to know this stuff. Okay. That's from commercials from the 70s. Dr.
Whoa.
Pepper commercials.
No, you're fooling. That decade wasn't real. That never happened.
I was there, brother. I was singing in rock and roll bands and rock bands in those days.
You're psychedelic. Or groovy. Or far out. What was your favorite lingo of the time?
I used to say far out all the time. So did all my friends,
No, that's only where you can't see now, huh?
What?
Far out.
Oh, very good. That was very good, Mark.
That's all I got right now.
I've named George's hat the rabbit since Mark has the hair on his head. Oh, I love this man's sense of humor.
At least someone loves something about him.
Hey, and at least there's someone out here at least as corny as me, maybe worse. Okay.
Or yeah. He didn't live through the 70s, I don't think.
Exactly.
Oh,
But back when you talked about acid, I was the guy. First of all, I used to play in rock bands, and especially when I'd be in Manhattan or in New York, and I was the guy who didn't do drugs. So they all thought I was really weird. There was something wrong with me, or
you're the guy who sold them. Right? You procured.
No, I know.
Well,
you know what they liked having me around for, the acid heads?
What?
The babysitter. Because people who drop acid need a babysitter for about 8 hours, and I'm the guy who would sit there with them to make sure they didn't jump out of a window or something.
For a fee, right?
No.
Oh, come on. For the good in your heart. No. Doesn't pay any bills. You even got to buy a sandwich or something or soda.
This was coming out of the 60s and 70s. We all took care of each other. I just had a lot of friends who were into that stuff, and I wasn't,
Bet you Michael Pepper would have been into it.
Everyone needs a lower porch to stoop as low as me. Okay, I'll buy that.
No, don't do it. Get your money back, George.
And no, and as a matter of fact, I used to own a Porsche. Oh,
Oh, gotcha there.
my problem with that is I had it for about a year, and I found out I couldn't stop speeding. I used to go up and down the Jersey Turnpike all the time, doing 130, 140 all the time.
Yeah, that's regular
And,
in that
and
machine.
well, I mean, thank God, my whole life, cops have always been nice to me. They often, I had a cop nail me on the turnpike at 105 one day. He let me go. You know.
Nice.
But I decided to get rid of that car that night. I was in Jersey. I was on a 2-lane blacktop, 55-mile-an-hour road. I was doing 130.
Well,
When the,
allegedly. Go ahead. Go on. Go on.
when the cop lights came on, he said I was doing 105. Well, he pulled me over into a lot, except he had called ahead. When I pulled into the lot, there were 5 cop cars around me. I had never had 5 cop cars around me before. But even this guy was nice to me because he's a young guy, and he comes over yelling at me. He says, I had to do 105 to get. Why were you driving so fast? Well, I had this incredibly gorgeous girlfriend. I didn't know what else to say. I said I was showing up for her, and he looks in, and it was almost like his face said, "Oh, I can understand that." He lowers my he lowers my ticket to 84 miles an hour so I wouldn't get suspended. That's how nice cops have always been to me.
Yeah.
But while he was writing that ticket, I'm thinking, I need to get rid of this car. A month later, I got rid of the car. I had a brand new 84 Sunbird also. 2 weeks later, I got a ticket in that, a speeding ticket.
So
That was the
it's
day
it's
that
not
was
the car, huh?
1986, and I gave up speeding for good. So I don't
So
speed anymore.
so it wasn't either of the cars. I think I'm finding a common denominator here in your.
Well, there was, but it was impossible not to speed in the Porsche. After that last ticket in the Sunbird, I just stopped speeding. I haven't had a speeding ticket since 1986 because I just don't do it anymore. I have no
You know,
need to do it anymore.
every single ticket that you've gotten, you've fought, right?
No, no,
Oh
because I
no.
because
No.
I because
No.
I was
No.
speeding every time. Here's my attitude. Most people get a speeding ticket and they get mad.
But you're
I
allowed
get a
to fight
speeding
it.
ticket. My attitude has always been, but I deserved it, so I'm
Why
not
don't,
going to fight it.
why don't you fight it
No,
anyway? You don't always win.
no, no, because I deserved it.
What? So because
Because I deserved it.
you love
I've only had
government?
about 5 speeding tickets in my whole life, but I deserved every single one of them, so I didn't fight them.
Oh,
The cop was right. I was wrong. That's how I
I
look
was
at
your
it.
lawyer, George. Jesus.
If you were my lawyer, you'd hate me, of course. My buddy, when I lived in Orlando, I had a buddy from New York who lived right outside of Orlando too, and his business is a tax consultant. He used to do my taxes. He used to yell at me all the time because I wouldn't allow him to cheat on my taxes ever. You know, but it's kind of how I am. Even before I was saved, I've always been that
It's
way.
not cheating to take advantage of the tax code. It's in the rules.
No, no, no. He wanted me to cheat. He wanted me to put
Different.
lies in there that he knew I could get away with, which I wouldn't do. You know,
Yeah, well.
but it's just how I am. I'm a weird one. You know. Let's see.
What else do we got?
Michael saying, I have to tell jokes
Oh,
in a well-lit room. I've given up on dark humor. Well, see, Michael, I can't give up on dark humor. I'm a black
okay.
man. Oh.
Oh, wow. Immediately with the race card. I love it.
That to me, that's the only thing it's good for is
We
making a
might as well
joke.
have fun with it, right? Let's have fun with it.
Exactly.
The,
Race
all
means
of
nothing to me, but it always makes for
yeah,
good jokes.
it does. It's one of those. But you know why? Because when you really get down to the nitty gritty, it's so stupid and silly. You have
Exactly.
you shall not.
Exactly.
You shan't take it seriously because
Yeah, I
it's
couldn't
ridiculous.
agree more. Couldn't
So that's
agree
why
more.
yeah, of course, man. Whether people get offended or not, hey, that's their decision. Yeah,
That's on them. I agree
that's
100%.
what you have control over is how you react to stuff. So,
Now,
how?
here's another one from Michael.
Oh
Had
no,
to abandon the 12-step program. Couldn't handle all the stairs. You see how he spells that? I love it.
I know
I
he
have
needs.
elevated my pride. So this is good. Wrong on all levels. I mean, there are 4 puns right there. This is great stuff, Michael.
Well, he's a punny guy.
Oh, yeah. Well, he certainly knows how to give out punishment.
But
Oh.
one, I was gonna give him one of these. I don't know if that's coming in good on your end. I can't hear.
Now this is typical stuff you see on the internet. Guy got the bone removed from his elbow. He's humorless now. Yeah, this is the stuff you see on Facebook.
Merciless. Yeah, on
Is
what?
that where he's going to get his stuff, his material?
Is it 2007? Is that why Facebook?
Yeah.
That was the last
Hey,
time that they were.
I still post on Facebook. Matter of fact, this
Yeah,
broadcast
you're
is
not
going
happy
live.
about it.
This broadcast goes live to YouTube and Facebook. Thank you. Now you've insulted me. Now I feel like Ted. Okay.
There we go. Get the blood bone going. Right.
He went from hero to this, folks. Can you believe it?
Is this what? Yeah, right. Isn't that usually what happens with heroes? What's that saying? You either die the hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Are we on Facebook right now? Are you telling me that you're broadcasting me on?
We are
oh
on
my
Facebook
God.
right now. We're on both of my Facebook accounts.
What do I have to say to get us taken down from Facebook? Who's stricter? Are they stricter, or is YouTube stricter?
I believe YouTube is.
Oh, really?
General. Yeah.
What if I say Zuckerberg sucks?
I doubt if that would make it.
No,
because I see stuff on Facebook Live sometimes that they've already taken off YouTube, but it stays on Facebook Live. So I think YouTube is probably stricter, is my guess. But see, I don't do anything controversial or say anything controversial. So I'm just a boring old guy. I'm a boring old guy like I'm supposed to be.
No. I don't buy that for a second, George. Would I be here if I thought you were boring?
Well, people my age are generally supposed to be boring, But of course, I do get.
I'm all for generalizations. I love generalizations.
I get you. I get.
We're speaking specifically
and emails and letters from people that tell me that they want to sell me hearing aids. They want to sell me grave plots, and I'm like, I'm not like most people my age. I expect to be here another 30, 40 years. So you got the wrong guy.
Expectation.
They think anybody who's 76 is about to die. I'm not about to die for a whole lot of years.
Just don't get in a car or eat any cheeseburgers. You'll be fine.
Oh, but cars are my thing.
And cheeseburgers are delicious. I know.
And I do like cheese.
The game is rigged. The game is rigged.
Ask me what I had for dinner tonight. Oh yeah, cheeseburgers. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say if we're gonna die anyways, why not live with knowing what cheeseburgers taste like? Plural.
There. See what she said?
No, I can't read.
And I'll be driving 12 hours to see her in a few weeks. So
there you go. Doing 120, 130.
So no, don't tell me not to get in the car. No, when you see that it says that the GPS says it's going to take you 12 hours, it takes me 12 hours because I tend to do the speed limit all the way. I'm a 5 over guy. That's as fast as I'm going.
I thought you just said that you would do the speed limit. See, now I got you in two different stories. You lied to me.
Every cop I've ever asked, and I've asked maybe 10 of them over the years, said any cop anywhere will give you 5 over. That's what I drive. So when I'm like, I-75 is the closest highway to me. Well, when I'm working like I was today, I'm always doing 75 or 75.
But that's the chat. What do you guys think? You guys heard what I heard. He said that he does the speed limit, then he immediately says, I'll do 5 over. So I don't know what to believe anymore.
I consider 5 over the speed limit. It depends on how you look at it.
I'm pretty sure I've never seen a speed limit sign that says speed limit 5 over 45.
Just read any cop's mind. You'll probably see it there.
I can't read anyone's mind. Okay. I hardly understand what's going on in my mind, Mr. Mobile Geek, sir. With your modern looks,
describe every human being on earth,
and your phony baloney
knows what's going on in their mind.
You got your phony baloney penthouse. What is this? The Empire State Building?
I know that song. I got a girl named a phony baloney. Okay.
I don't know that.
What is
Who's that one by? Is that Drake?
That's a song from 1950s by Little Richard, named Boney Maroney. We can't be shaken. We won't show on the strictest.
You don't have to put his comments up anymore. I think we're finished, Michael.
So if we can't be shaken, that means we have to be stirred, according to James Bond, anyway.
That one I like better.
Okay.
Hey, did you hear about? You want to talk about him? Did you hear that he supposedly hated doing all those movies, but he took the money anyway, didn't he?
Well, wait, which him? You mean the first one?
Daniel Craig.
Oh, Daniel Craig.
The most recent one, and also
I can understand. I've only seen one of the ones with him, but yeah.
Also, from man, it was a while back, but I know there was a few I had read some articles where Ian. So he's the only Bond that doesn't look like the rest of the Bonds, right? He's the
Oh,
only
Sean
one
Connery.
that's
You mean yeah,
Craig.
he doesn't. Well, yeah,
It
but
doesn't look like what the Bonds,
well,
the previous Bonds.
all they did was get shorter over the years. They started real tall, and then they went down to the last couple were all kind of the same size. I don't think he looks a lot different than the last
Right.
couple
Well, I mean
before him.
the blue hair, the blonde blue eyes look. I'm saying
Yeah,
all the rest
that's
of them
true.
were
Yeah,
black hair, brown eyes,
yeah,
or brown.
they
So,
all had the dark
but
hair and brown eyes. It's true.
but there were a couple of interesting articles that I had seen to where yeah, he's getting a lot of smack for it, but of that region that Ian Fleming based James Bond on. I don't think it was
Right.
any like one person. I think it was maybe a collection of a few, actual spies that were
Yeah,
working
but
in
keep in
that part of
mind,
the world. That
supposedly family based it on himself generally
Okay.
because he was a
Was he
spy.
was Ian Fleming black haired or blonde? Was he a brunette?
I think he was a brunette, not black hair.
Okay.
I think he
I
was
think well
brunette.
the point I'm getting at is that of what because of the way people look in that area and in a lot of parts of Europe, most of
Hmm.
them would look like Daniel Craig as opposed to anyone else who previously
And that's
played
true.
James
That's
Bond.
true.
And so it would
Especially
make
as you
sense.
get to
It
the
would stand
northern
to
part.
reason that any agents that you had that are working in that area to blend in, you would want to assign someone who looks like the
That's
people of the
generally
area. So
That's generally
Daniel
true,
Craig,
except remember, James Bond was often getting sent to the Caribbean. So I would think Sean Connery would blend in better, even though he was like a giant compared to some of them in those days.
yeah, I guess so. Well, I mean, of course he's fictional, but I think the point of at least in this article, was that he probably looks closer to any of the many agents that Ian Fleming's, based him
Probably
on,
interacted with. Yeah, that's probably true. That's
because
probably
any
true.
other person in that part of the world, not, not I don't know how many secrets there are to safekeep or to steal in the Caribbean, but in other parts of the world, yeah, this guy's gonna fit
He
right
had to
in.
go after Doctor No and people like that in the Caribbean. You know,
Right, right, right.
you, you got to watch
That
the early
that's
James
basic
Bond
tradecraft.
movies.
That's the common sense. There's a lot of common sense involved with stuff like that. You want to
Okay,
send someone who's
here,
going to
here,
blend in, unless the point is to not
here,
blend in. So then you send someone who won't,
here he
depending
comes with common sense. What's wrong with this guy?
on the mission or what. Oh, what? That I'm preaching common sense on?
Yes, you
Well,
know,
why not? What's wrong
as,
with that?
as I tell my coworkers at work, there you go being logical again. What's the matter with you? Yeah, I'm always telling them that. You
This is so unlike you. Tell them next time.
know. Exactly. All right, it's 9:45, and
Sure,
Mark has great. Well, I have to say, Mark and Michael have both greatly enhanced the show.
but
So
mostly me.
okay. Don't be
Thank you.
so humble,
That's
okay?
quite sweet. I appreciate it a lot. I can't speak for
So I
Michael Pepper.
do you have any uh, great outro comments to make?
Um, let's see what happens on Tuesday. Keep the
Yeah,
expectations
that's true.
low. That way we're blown away, right?
I assume you're going to be getting one right away.
For sure a redesigned watch, because then I can gift this to the to Stephanie, to the co-parent mother of my daughters.
Okay.
We're both
Okay.
starting on a fitness thing, and so I think because of just for that alone, and she already has an iPhone, so it's gonna fit seamlessly. But
So
that's
she
the
doesn't have an Apple Watch yet.
no,
Okay. All right, good.
yeah. So that'll be something. That'll be a nice secret reason for me to get myself a new one. Yeah.
Okay. So it seems like a lot of ladies are getting a new Apple Watch. Okay.
Yeah, but that's it.
All right. So I want to thank everybody for coming in, especially Mark and Michael. You guys were absolutely great, and I gather Miss E agrees that you guys were awesome. What is Michael saying?
And you guys
Spies
in the chat.
looking for data are intel agents with intelligence. Very good. I like that. Okay.
And of course, everyone in the Lurk squad who hasn't spoken up yet, but stuck around.
Exactly.
And the replay, right? Because that happens.
That's true. Yeah, Brian always, at least I can always depend on Brian to be part of the replay crew.
Now he
So
kind of,
thanks to everybody coming in. And I hope everybody has a very, very blessed weekend. And I'm going to go. I haven't even set up my Z Fold 3, so I'll be doing that as soon as we get off the broadcast. So hopefully I'll see you guys next Friday, and if I'm very blessed, Mark will come in again, and we'll all have a good time.
That's right.
It was
All right.
all right. Michael's last comment: Apple Watch, so you can work on your core. Okay.
Apple Core. You should have threw that in there. That was
Yeah, I got that. I got that.
Apple Core. Come on.
Well, you just took me back to a saying we used to say when I was in grammar school, but you don't want to hear it. It's way too corny and stupid.
You'll get demonetized.
Exactly. All right, guys. You guys have
Right.
a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week. All right. Here comes the pregnant pause now. There